Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about a movie that has gotten less than favorable reviews. This movie is the live action remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And this movie was one that I wasn't probably going to go see originally. I'm not a huge fan of these live action remakes. However, I actually got intrigued to want to go see it because the rating for it on IMDb was a whopping 1.5 stars. The last time I checked, 1.5 out of 10. And I don't know for sure whether I've ever seen a movie at 1.5 stars. That is extremely low. And so I wanted to go see this movie to see if it is as bad as the reviews say it is. When I went to the theaters, I was expecting more or less a black screen the whole time based on the reviews, because I couldn't even imagine how a movie could be that bad. And when the movie started, it seemed okay. I was liking the characters, and it was building up the story and sort of the beginning, the setting the stage for the story that most of us know and have grown up with. And for a movie like this, I can't really review the story because the story is tried and true, and this is a remake of a classic story. And so I'm not going to critique the story of this, but I do want to talk about the specifics of the remake and whether it was a good remake or not. And the introduction I thought was pretty solid, and that led into the first song, and I was happily surprised. I thought that the first musical number was quite good. It definitely gave me some Wicked vibes, if you liked the Wicked movie. I liked that they had some choreography. I liked that the characters kind of moved through, and I thought the audio production and the music and the vocals and everything sounded quite nice. And I was pretty impressed. And I started thinking, maybe this movie actually isn't going to be that bad. When we got to the Evil Queen's first main musical number is when I started to cringe a little bit. But I do want to say that I still really liked the audio production quality. I liked what they did in the video. I especially with the knights that were on the side. Their choreography was cool, and I felt like they definitely gave it this musical vibe that was really fun and enjoyable. I think the Evil Queen was overacted, specifically in the musical numbers. She, was supposed to be this queen with a lot of power who had very intelligently, smartly manipulated an entire kingdom. And she just acted very jumpy and intensely angry instead of sort of that quiet, creepy, evil queen vibe. She gave more of like a, angsty teenager vibe, and that didn't quite land for me, but I think that's just an acting choice that I would have done differently. But basically, from there, we get Snow White being kicked out of the kingdom. From there, we get Snow White being kicked out of the kingdom. And I liked the reversal. I liked the character deciding that he wasn't going to kill Snow White as he was demanded to. It felt very real. It felt like something that this character wouldn't do, and is sort of the first act of rebellion against the evil queen. And so then Snow White goes off and meets the 7 dwarfs. Now, I remember as a kid and as a teenager and as an adult that if you ever heard the song, Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to where we go, that you would have that stuck in your head forever. And this movie did not help that. That song was so fun in the movie. I very much enjoyed Hi-Ho. It was a great introduction to the dwarves, and it was just a lovely, super entertaining. I'm sure I had a big dumb smile on my face the whole time. It was so cute, and it was just a lovely musical number that I thought was really well done. You can say what you will, and I partially agree that the CG of it all is a little weird and maybe not my favorite thing in the world. But if we look past that, I actually think that that number is really cool. And I think they did a really good job with it. And then we get to Whistle While You Work. Whistle While You Work is not my personal favorite number, but I thought that it was fairly well done in the film. I didn't really have any major critiques on it. It just didn't land for me personally, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that this is a kids' movie, and it is tailored towards children, not towards adults. And I think that many of the little jokes and gags in the Whistle While You Work number might have been much more enjoyable or much funnier to a younger audience. But again, I didn't see any inherent problems with the song or, the story and the way it was going. Then we get to the love interest, and of course, there's a million things wrong with the story in this. Obviously, she meets this guy, barely knows him, and then he is her true love. But liked their I liked their sort of meet cute song, Princess Problems. I thought that was cute, and I think, again, to a younger audience, that's going to resonate a little bit more. And then I like that he does take an arrow for her, and that she is able to save him with the help of the dwarves in a very cutesy, funny way, where the dwarf thought that he killed him. And I really enjoyed all the just kind of subtle jokes and these somewhat simple lock-ins that help move the story forward and develop these characters into who they need to be. And from there, we get to the capture of the love interest, and I like that the captured love interest and the arrested person who let Snow White go in the beginning get to work together from their prison, from the dungeon, to escape. I like that they brought that character back and that he has more of a role coming in. Always love it when characters do more than just one thing in one scene in the movie. The transformation of the evil queen into the old witch, I thought was well done and pretty creepy, and that whole thing was interesting, and the gift of the apple and all of that. And then we get towards the end of the film. Obviously, I thought that the true love's kiss to bring her back was sort of just glossed over. But again, I don't want to critique the story too heavily. But they kind of glossed over that, and then she comes back, yay. And then she goes to retake her kingdom. And as simple as it was, basically her telling the guards and telling the people that were working for the evil queen about their past lives and how great their lives were when they were under her father, under the king, and reminding them that things could be better. And they essentially all have a reversal moment and decide that they no longer want to be evil, they want to be good. And that is a very, very simple reversal that in most movies I would critique very harshly. But again, this is a children's movie, and I think the simple message of choosing good over evil is a simple and effective message in a children's movie. And I liked that once they did that, they had a nice musical number. I also liked that they brought back the dwarves. The dwarves helped them retake the castle and all of that, and then everybody celebrated, and they had another wonderful dancing number, and they even had some planting and payoff of this young girl that the main character, Snow White, has helped back in the past, and they're able to essentially come back and reclaim everything and bring peace and love back to the kingdom. Now, you'll notice in this review that I didn't really have a whole lot of negative things to say, and I think that that is very interesting given how I started this review by telling you that the rating on IMDb is 1.5 out of 10. I so very much disagree with this. I think that even if you hated this film, if you thought it was the worst adaptation of Snow White of all time, I think the lowest you could give it would be like a 4 out of 10, because I think the production quality was just good enough to carry it that far. I think the songs were good enough to carry it that far. I think it had enough charisma, enough fun, enough enjoyment, enough smiles to carry it to a 4 out of 10, bare minimum. And in my personal opinion, if I were to rate it for children, not for adults, but for children, I think I could give it a 7 out of 10. And I know that based on the reviews of many, that is blasphemy. But I really did not think that this movie was that bad. Is it my favorite movie of the year? No, of course not. But it was a fun time, and I think for a kid, this is a cool modern retelling of this story, and yeah, I'm just not opposed. If you saw this film, which you probably didn't because it's rated 1.5 out of 10, but if you did, let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you think that it deserves lower than a 4 out of 10, tell me why. Alright, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Finger flutters? I've never